Hello and welcome to chapter 236 of our streaming adventure. What we have on deck for you today is Dredge. And not just, I guess, there are different styles of Dredge, there's different ways we could take it, but I thought based on who spun up on the wheel, Vintage was the most appropriate place for us to play, as well as I think my likelihood of knowing what I'm doing is highest in Vintage because this is the main card I have to worry about. I'm going to mulligan till it's in my hand. I'm going to put it in play, and I'm going to activate it. So I'm hoping it's pretty straightforward from there. A lot of it, I am familiar with fighting from the other side, so we'll see if that helps me at all or potentially hinders me because I know how to fight it. I don't necessarily know how to pilot it to its utmost. And one of the things I foresee being a problem is sideboarding. Like if I get wastelanded and they're able to knock the or turn the bazaar off, and I have to go to like slow dredge and stuff like that. But um, you know, when I'm expecting sideboard hate, what do the force of vigors come in place of? Expecting tabernacles, I assume that's when like wastelands come in, but I don't know if it's necessarily at a exchange of Force of Wills, or I think I wouldn't want to touch Serum Powder because Serum Powder is going to increase the likelihoods at seeing Bazaar. So Mental Misstep is maybe Mental Misstep, Cabal Therapy, Noxious Survival. Maybe those are more flex spots. Then again, looking at their blue card count, 4, 8, 12. We only have 15 blue cards. It does make it seem like the force package is maybe not as it's normally 17 blue cards to reliably have pitch, and if we bring the force of vigors in, 4, 8. There's even less likely. Well, you have Noxious Survival and Hogak, but it's probably harder to count on Force of Vigor than otherwise. Well, let's find out. If nothing else, this will go quick, and you can be on to something else today. But I appreciate you taking the time to be with me, either live or if you're catching me later. We publish my content over on the Swish Gaming right above me, swishgaming.com, their YouTube. You can also find links through the Swish Gaming website. And if you don't like Vintage, if you don't necessarily like some of the formats I play, there's plenty of other teammates on there playing Arena, playing other games even. I think there's Pokemon content out there lately. Also want to shout out Mana Traders all the way up at the top. Thank you, Mana Traders, for allowing me to play this variety of decks. If I didn't have the rental accounts, I likely would not be able to switch between these different deck ideas. But a lot of that comes from the subscribers to the Twitch channel. If you subscribe or resubscribe, I put your name on a wheel and I'll spin it up, and then it's your choice, and you get to tell me Dredge, and then I get to implement that, and that's what we're doing here. So basically, the money that comes in turns around and pays for our Dr. Pepper, and or helps subsidize the league from certain people that make me play 05 deck lists. That is not this. I'm referring to certain other people. They know who they are. Yeah, I do wonder about the sideboarding plans. What what are the right times to sideboard particular, like if I know I want to bring the wastelands and stuff like that in, what does that come in place of? Or where do I need more Force Worlds? This is Winged Hussars list from the PTQ finals against Justin. Cho, what I was saying is I don't necessarily understand the sideboard in and outs. Like when I'm going to bring in Wastelands or Force of Vigor in anticipation of hate and stuff, what goes out in those situations? What are the flex spots in the deck itself? That's what I really don't understand. Well, Thorn, if you put it that way, then I guess yeah, how foolish it. All right, round 1, we are on the draw. Against somebody I believe is a Dredge player. Opening hand, Bazaar, Baghdad. This game's easy. Keep. Turn 1. Pitch. Stinkweed Imp. Amalgam Therapy. I guess wait to see what 2 cards we draw, but otherwise we're going to deploy a hollow one. This'll be the game plan. So our opponent is thinking long and hard about our match. They have kept their hand. They could be looking up the stream. Welcome, opponent, to the stream. Nice to see you. I mean, it's possible. Prized Amalgam makes sense of wanting it in the graveyard for purposes of hopping out with... does it trigger off a Narcomoeba? If it entered from your graveyard... So it wouldn't trigger off a Narcomoeba. It would trigger off Icarids. So do I keep Prized Amalgam in hand for potential... Does the Narcomoeba go to the graveyard and then hop into play? That's true, because you strip the card out of the graveyard, right? It goes to the graveyard and then hops into play. If Narcomoeba is put into your graveyard, you then may put it on the battlefield. Okay. So let's fundamentally understand the cards in your deck first, Jeremy. So Prized Amalgam can trigger off the Narcomoebas or Icarids coming out. Opponent, turn 1 Ancestral. Pretty good. And then we wait. Okay. Black Lotus. Narset. Cool. Narset against Dredge. Well, I would draw 1. No, I would draw 0, discard 3, and they have given themselves an Oko. I mean, discard 3 cards. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. 3. Cast hollow one. Force pitching Flusterstorm. Sure. So I need to set a stop on my upkeep. A stop on my upkeep to activate the Bazaar, and then if I'm dredging, I have replaced the draws, and Narset can't hurt me. Keep the amalgam for the chance of a force. That makes sense. I just my thought there, Cho, was that with Narset in play, I wasn't going to draw any new cards, and I intend to dredge a lot, so I didn't foresee getting a new card into hand. That's my thought. Could draw a card on their turn. That's true. Discard 3 cards. 1, 2, 3. That is the biggest one. We have triggered an Archamoeba. Do we have any bridges in there? We have some Icarids in there. Endurance, sure, that seems sure. Opponent has came prepared. That's what took them so long. They had to make sure their opening hand was good enough. You got it, buddy. I mean, they didn't play any lands on their turn, so they didn't feel the need to play any lands because they knew they had it all. Why would they not endurance me on the after I had dredged? If they had endurance me, I wouldn't even have the Grave Troll. Maybe they wanted maximum cards in there. There was an unbounded loop detected. Narcomoeba's automated decisions have been reset. All right, sure. Brainstorm. The good news, I guess, is, well, all those cards are now at the bottom of our library. They're not gone forever. It's not like they were exiled. So maybe we get stuff, we restart everything. So the question here is, so if I activate Bazaar, never mind. I was going to say, and now it's just an interesting thought experiment because I don't have a Bazaar anymore. But had I activated the Bazaar, I would have drawn one. Second one would have been blocked by Narset, and then I discard. Then go to draw step. I could not get a new draw, and therefore I would not get a chance to dredge, I believe is how it works. None of this matters because the opponent is just going to town over there with their one-lander Ancestral. That they they kept immediately and then thought a long time about how best to deploy it. So it's not like they were scouting. Or they just took a quick perusal. Although, hey, if that got them to follow me on Twitter, awesome. Follow me on Twitter. I appreciate it. Demonic Tutor, really hard finding what they need. Sure. I wonder if they went for the land or if they went for the Death Ray Shaman. I really don't feel like I'm going to learn anything new, and if anything, it's just kind of wasting my time because they're going to get an Uro. I don't even know that I'm going to get a Bazaar. I guess the better question here is what gets sideboarded. So is this if this is just going to be bad news all around, Cho, what am I looking to bring in, I guess? Because looking at it, it's like, does Bug play Tabernacle? It doesn't feel like they do. I like the idea of Noxious Revival. Noxious Revival can buy back my if I get Wastelanded. But what kind of stuff? Force of Vigor and the Revivals. What comes out in that case? Revival is an always in versus Wasteland decks. Okay. And then Force of Vigor, I'm presuming that they have Leyline? Oh, should I declare blockers here? You know, the backup strip mine just in case. Unfortunately, when it's going to come time... Okay. Burn me for good measure. Attack for 6 here puts me at 5. Yeah, okay. I think we can properly concede now. Okay. So, cards I want. We said we want the Noxious Revival, and we want the Force of Vigors. Force of Negation, less impressive. And then some amount of Therapy and Bridge from below. Two and one. What are thoughts on that? Because I'm not going to fight them on the axis of Wastelands versus their Wastelands. They can do it better, and they have Deathrite Shaman. Mental Misstep, is that worth keeping in myself? I guess we just talked about Deathrite Shaman, potential for Pithy Needles, stuff like that. I think that is all probably a good reason to keep it, right? Otherwise, the fact I'm going to be on the play, just have to be mindful of, I don't think there's Ravenous Trap. The potential for Surgical Extraction as always, but Surgical Extraction, another thing that Mental Misstep could hit, so... Okay. Lost the first game. Shouldn't potentially normally happen, but opponent there came to game. Very powerful on the play. I mean, I don't even, like, Nar said all it restricted me from was 2 more cards at the beginning. I don't think that, I don't know. The cards we saw weren't necessarily Hollow 1, something that I could deploy multiple all at once, so... Mm-hmm. We have plenty of time. Opponent has not been the quickest. Okay. Yes, we would like to play first. My opening hand does not have a bazaar, therefore I will mulligan. My next hand does not have a bazaar, therefore I think I mulligan. I believe I understand the mulliganing decisions. No? I certainly have the Force of Wills covered, Force of Vigors covered. Opponent kept a solid 7. Congratulations, we have now found a bazaar. Keep. I have to send 2 cards back. I have 3 Dredgers. I have Force of Vigor, and I have Icarid. I'm thinking the reason they kept their hand may involve Force of Vigor. Or I'm sorry, the reason they kept their hand might involve Leyline of the Void, and because of that, my thoughts are to throw away. But then again, do I want to get Icarid going early? It could be wrong, but my thought is Thug and a single Force of Vigor, with the idea that Shambling Shell can feed the other Force of Vigor. Or should I? Okay. So we'll get rid of a Thug and we'll get rid of a Force of Vigor. That's my reasoning, and then depending on what we get here, Icarid and Stinkweed Imp, I can put the trigger on and try to... They had no pregame effects. So the only reason to cash in the Bazaar right now is with the hopes of No, I need Icarid in my graveyard in the upkeep for that to trigger, right? But I could also just wait till end step. I'm just trying to think of the reasons to... I would basically have to hope in the top 2 cards would be a hollow one. And I don't know that there are, and otherwise I'm just throwing cards away. I think I'm okay with that. I think I'm okay with waiting. If I knew I had a hollow one, for example, then I would go harder. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Discard 3 cards. 1, 2, 3. This still gives me the other one, I guess. Do I want to keep a Dredger in my hand? I'll eat grief. No, now they're just going to endurance, right? Yeah, this just opened myself. I wasn't thinking of endurance. So that's what they could do here. After they take their requisite couple minutes to think about it. Yeah, that way, maybe I should have kept a Dredger in hand. No? Okay, so let's exile Grief, because the Grief's not going to do anything more for me right now. Okay. Upkeep. They didn't play, like, I guess what? They didn't play any Moxes. They didn't play multiple things. Okay, we got an Archimevo. I'm not sure what else is under there. Yeah, I think he's just going to die. I don't see anything. Vampiric Tutor. Okay. The question now, let them finish searching. Do I not do you knock your survival to put the vampiric back on top so they draw it again? I don't think I should. It's funny, but I don't think I should. There is another Bazaar there. Could I potentially have Revival? And I probably could have, if my draw step after the upkeeping, if I would have Noxious Revival, the Bazaar on top, and taken the draw, and then play a Bazaar, and then go harder, that might have made more sense. Time Walk. Okay. So once again, maybe we can hop these Icarids out, and then I can Noxious Revival that back for myself, and then have that be my draw. Because otherwise, Icarid 1, Icarid 2. Of course. Once again, this does not seem like the ideal time to have gone for that, but I could be wrong. I am not the one winning here. Had it the whole time. Had it the whole time. Should have played around it. Meanwhile, they're down to 4 cards. That one. That one. Sure. Alas, I have been foiled again. What are these cards they're pitching? Oko and a Tarmogoyf. Okay. Decent draw step. Get him. Go, Narcomoeba, go. Okay. Stand still. Oh, Delve Spell. That's terrible. Yeah. Oh, we had the yield on. Nice work. Gave him a point. Gave him a life point. Maybe I just need to... There's no... Until I hit the Dredger, it's not worth activating the Bazaar. That's possible. And the Endurance put the cards at the bottom of our library again. Can I cast Hogak? No. Can I get this off the table? Also, no. But I'm primed to have a bunch of stuff hop into play. I'm sure we will get neutered right before that happens. You got it, Oko. Oh, the aggressive plan. So 1, 2. Upkeep. Sure, bring it. I'm not blocking. Maybe I should have. Maybe I definitely should have because of the bridge from below. Yeah, that's just wrong on my part. So do we know any of the cards in their hand? We attack with both of those. 2, 4. That'll come out. Yeah. So we attack for all of this. That there is no minus on it anyway, but okay. They'll just turn it into a 3/3, sure, but okay. So Cabal Therapy, target you, sacrifice this. What's the most important card here? What's something they would not have played yet? They spent the last turn playing Oko and attacking. Nice. So they have a Tabernacle left over that will destroy me on my turn. Cool, cool. It's not worth stripping the other card, but we could get a Hogak into play with this. Do I target myself? to get the Thug into the graveyard so that I have it there to... One, two. There's still only one Icarid. Cast a Hogak, paying. And then let's delve away. Artifact, artifact, artifact. That's 3. There's currently no other lands. And then I kind of want to leave the enchantment. Instants are there. There's a sorcery, so I can't get rid of everything. Force Will. I was trying to shrink the Tarmogoyf a little bit. Then we'll get our prized amalgam triggers. We'll have blocks. Tabernacle. So the question is, if I don't. Okay. If we make it to. If they play an artifact, can they just trade? No. Opponent says, I got lucky. Well, that sounds terrible. Pray tell, how did you get lucky? Can you bounce my Hogak? Can you kill my Hogak? Did you sideboard Death Mark to kill Hogak? Do you also play Karakas? I'm curious. So they've made a food token so that they can get some life. There's the tabernacle we expected. Oko did not shrink anybody over here, so instead, we're going to have a whole bunch of dead creatures. Let's put the Icarid trigger on first, and then everything else, and we say, let it die, let it die, let it die. No. No. Thug. Thug. Discard. How many cards I got left? I got 30. Are there any other Icarids in there? Still no? Seriously? I think I'm going to take... Do I take a natural draw? That feels wrong. I'm not going to find land, though, so... I mean, does it make any sense to send in the Icarid? We could cast the Hogak again. Eat the artifact. Eat the artifact. I don't see lands. Okay. Yeah, it's more that I want them to have to pay for their creatures. Assassin's Trophy. Do I wish to use Assassin's Trophy's ability? No, because I don't have any basic lands. Okay. Yeah, I need a lot of. Yeah, true. Why? I think they must have done that backwards. Why would you get rid of Tarmogoyf? Question mark? Mm, no, I wasn't thinking that through because it doesn't matter because now my guy dies and then they just swing through. So we're dead. There's another Icarid finally, but I don't know. Maybe they'll block. It's worth a shot. It's worth a shot. Crap! They saw right through me. Oh, I think they played around it. They played around their own tabernacle. Bum 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 bum. Yep, we're dead. Opponent got us. All right. Well, opponent came prepared. Not losing game one hurt for sure. They just had too much of a start when they were on the play. And then game two is always about, even if the what I'm more familiar with is being on the other side from Dredge. And it's how does your hate go against the Dredge deck's answers? And a lot of times, if you're able to get them, but ha, all right, take care, bud. But yeah, I don't know how long this league will be. I wonder if potentially some of our wait time in between matches might take longer than the matches themselves, either, you know, in our benefit or maybe against us. So now the list I chose, this is Winged Hussars list from the finals of the PTQ. Lost to very powerful wizard Justin. But I did see some other lists that are playing like Wastelands or Strip Mine main. And I mean, that's interesting. Like, it's more there, like Wasteland meant to be like anti-Tabernacle, obviously anti-Caracas, but why would you start with them in the main? Maybe is it a nod to sphere effects? That could be stuff I'm not considering, but otherwise, like, maybe it's so you have mana to cycle Hollow One, or isn't there like a effect on this? Yeah, maybe you need a colorless source to regenerate that troll. Yeah, I noticed some decks had the Wastelands and or Strip Mine main, and it just is. I mean, is Tabernacle a main deck card? I thought Tabernacle was a sideboard card, but the thing is, I have been out of touch with Vintage to a point. But then again, this is a tuned finals deck with somebody who knows what they're doing. Maybe because of that, they're like, I don't need the Wastelands and Strip Mines till later. So Prison Shops that makes sense because Golos can go get it as needed. Yeah, okay. Well, getting ready for round 2. On the play, yes, please. Uh-oh, the Devil's Penguin. All right, there's a Bazaar and there's 2 Hollow Ones. Sign me up. See, these are the kind of hands that I play against all the time, and it's kind of brutal. I'm not gonna lie. It's like, you see, they do this. They're gonna draw 2 cards. They're gonna discard Golgari Thug, Prized Amalgam, and Cabal Therapy, and then they're gonna cast a Hollow One and cast another Hollow One, and you're just gonna be like, seriously, that just happened? And it's always frustrating. Okay, they let the first one in, but the second one just was a bridge too far. So now, upkeep. That's a good one. So is it worth? I mean, it probably is. That. There is not. Am I missing one? I don't think there's another one. Okay, and then discard 1, 2, 3. We'll slow Dredge. Okay. I can't find anybody new, no, so let's attack. We'll play a new land. 1, 2, 3, 4. There is a bridge from below there, but I can't quite get it yet. We would have Dredge. 1. I think I wait. Blue-green. Oath of Druids. Well, crap. How many cards do I have left? 33? Like, I'm just trying to overwhelm right now, right? Yes, please. Sealed. Where is a grief? And where's another grief? 13 cards left, sure. We'll attack with that one. Oh my goodness! You dummy. Way to leave 6 points over there. I mean, certainly an interesting strategy. I'll give you that. So what are we worried about? Time walk? I guess force of will first, right? Okay, but there's the time walk now, so we'll take time walk. I can't believe you didn't attack, you idiot. And then that's just ridiculous to me. Just get this Hogak in play. I mean, we could take like Ponder. Is it even worth it? They could get a Hogak. No, we could take Oko. It is Thief of Crowns, right? Okay. Sack the Hogak, cast it all over again? Yeah, that'd been sweet. All right, do they have the... They have Arcana Cruelty. I don't think that's going to be enough. But I definitely would have a lot more dudes if I would have sacrificed Hogak. That's a good point. And they are showing me their deck. Pernicious Deed. Guy's Blessing's going to shuffle all that back, so it doesn't matter. Sacrifice a creature. I'll sacrifice this one. Discard a card. How about that one? Like, I hope this works out in my favor. They did have a chance to spike the time walk because of the shuffle off Guy's Blessing. They could still have it. It's a brand new world here. I mean, I'm definitely still attacking, so... Then again, maybe I'm not attacking as I misclick through my stuff. Sideboard, they're going to have the big angel, and I don't... See, that sucks. Maybe I should have kept the... So we're going to lose all of our zombies. However... Alright, eat that one. Grief. Take a draw step. Combat. I hope this is enough. Okay, that has trample. Alright, we got him to negative 16, thankfully. Whew. Okay. So... got lucky. I guess it would be nice to know how did Ryan sideboard in the finals. Things we care about, Force of Vigor, right? Force of Vigor to fight Oath. Do we want Noxious Revivals? I guess did... So Pernicious Deed can be a problem. The fact that Oath is something they'd have to play on their turn, is that a reason to bring in Forces of Negation? They don't have Wasteland, so I don't want Noxious. Okay. Mental Misstep, Cabal Therapies. I guess I'm not 100% sure what... So what are the other cards that get trimmed? Because I need to get rid of 3 more. Mental Misstep, we saw that they have Ancestral. We saw they have Ancestral, Vampiric, Ponder, etc. It's probably still worth it. Bridge from Below did some heavy lifting there. However, the bridges then ended up getting... well, the bridges never went away, but they were dealt with via... They could... I'm trying to think, what was Justin's sideboard? Justin brought... Did he bring in Pithing Needle? So that's another reason to keep Misstep. What is Grief? Choose a non-land. That seems decent. What are 3 more cuts, Cho? Hurry up, please. I guess... Is Hogak not good enough so it's I could be trumped by the Angel? Therapy to Bridge? I think I'll keep going back to that well. I would just question, is Hogak good enough? Or is that something where I'm just going to try to make a really quick Hogak at the beginning and hope it's enough? All right, this has an opening bazaar. Hogak is green. That's a good call. So this has an opening bazaar. The 2 Narcomoebas in my hand kind of is rough. I mean, I'm not legally allowed to mulligan a hand that has Bazaar, right? I don't think I am. Okay, no turn zeros. That helps. Now, do I spend the force on this? I think I have to, right? And then if they do stop me, then I'm hoping to clean up with Force of Vigor. Or do I wait, hope to get with Force of Vigor? Okay. Well, now I got a beatdown machine. Draw green card. Had it. Can we get them? Yeah, I thought they might actually have force. I mean, they hard cast it, yeah. Build back up. What is this? This seems okay. Let's go, spirits. I mean, so I was gonna say I don't have to discard, but if I did, the ley line would currently be. So I think we just easily throw away some of these serum powders, right? Yeah. This is the part that I always hated as the Oath player. Is Forbidden Orchard was the only land I ever drew, and it killed me, and it was so frustrating. Like, I was gonna say, it's not like they were waiting for green this whole time. Go get them, guys. They're down to 6. I have more serum powders to discard. More Forbidden Orchards from them. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. How much does the thing cost? That's what's kind of interesting to me. They only have 2 turns left. They got to do something. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so they finally found it, but it took everything. Maybe they felt like they needed backup. I do not believe I can kill this thing. We did! It only took all game. We could attack to send a message. But instead, let's save some time. Oh, yikes. So, yeah, it basically they just took their time. They didn't actually hit the oath. They just drew up until they were all the way there. The only thing I would potentially wonder is, do I want Noxious Revival just for the fact it is a green card to help facilitate a vigor? Like, do that over a therapy? Because the current green count is 4, 8, 9, 10 total. I mean, 11 is not that much greater than 10, but it is. It's a little bit. Noxious Survival only happens if it's in my hand. Cabal Therapy only matters in the. Alright. Do. Do do. I was gonna say, making sure I did submit, right? Yes. Okay, I submitted. Waiting on opponent. Doot, doot, doot. Won the die roll. Would I like to play first? Yes. Okay, this has a Bazaar. I think I just keep. It's not like I. Oh, do you powder for a better one? No, I think it's just. Discard 1, 2. The blue card or the bridge from below. Right now I'm going to say bridge. Cast. Pass. Now we have force negation up to potentially mess with them. And then if nothing else, we just kind of sit back and draw cards naturally, and maybe we'll hit excuse me, we'll hit Force of Vigor, and then Shambling Shell can go to town. Also, with some of this potentially extra chaff, that's what Bazaar could help dig towards a Force of Vigor. These excess serum powder hands. Preordain. Sorry, what did Ponder do? Ponder was not a shuffle. Kind of scary. And Preordain is a bottom. Do I care about this? Potentially I could draw 2, discard 3, and maybe one of the 2. Yeah, okay. 1, 2, 3. Bizarre Baghdad has been chosen. I'm not saying I had it, but I had it. So now the question is, do I do it on their upkeep? Or do I wait and do it on like their end step? Well, I didn't put a yield. The yield's only on my own upkeep, so I guess that answers that question. Okay. What are the ones I care about more? Probably these two. Maybe I needed to fight over it. Well, that sucked. Could we take a card out of their hand? Would it matter? Or should I have... No, because I would have had to fight over the original, and then I couldn't have backed it up. Yeah, they're just going to tutor up whatever it is they need, so... They have another Pithy Needle, so it didn't truly matter. And they go get protection from creatures. Say Artifact. Mess up somehow. Nope. Okay. Didn't matter. 14 cards left in their library. I don't think they're going to deck themselves. Alright. Well, they have a 7/7, and we're dead, so... Alright. I think that's a case of we just kind of saw in the PTQ finals that you can overload. Like, potentially, I set that up wrong in how... Okay, when they played the Oath, if I would have tried to Force of Negation the Oath, they just counter it there. And if we let that happen, or maybe when I try to Force of Negation the Oath, they play the Veil of Summer, then that still stops me, and then they have Force for the Force of Vigor. So then the question, I think, comes to how maybe they would have fought the Oath with Force of Negation, let that happen, and then clear it with Force of Vigor. Force of Vigor couldn't be stopped by the Veil of Summer. So maybe... I think I could have at least given myself the chance there if I would have tried to fight over... Well, I mean, based on how everything turned out, my thought was, yeah, I'll just clear up what's there with the Force of Vigor, protecting it with Force of Negation. You like fighting the needle? I felt like the needle didn't matter as much because of the ley line. Maybe I'm wrong. Round number 3. Oh, no. Well... All right, they're playing first. We have a mulligan. They have revealed Luris. Luris and Vintage. All right, so if you serum powder this, I lose 2 Icarids and a bridge, or am I just supposed to do that? Am I just supposed to, if Bazaar, mulligan, if serum powder, yes to what? Are you supposed to just serum powder if you know Bazaar, regardless of what you lose? Is that correct? Okay, is this a hand not to serum powder? I guess that's what I'm asking. Is there too much here that I should mulligan as opposed to serum powder? That's what I don't. It just, to me, it seems like there's a lot of good stuff here that if I exile it forever, oh no. But maybe am I just too hesitant there? I don't know. I feel like there are some. We'll see what happens. Okay. But does this hand qualify there? I think, even though I don't want to, I think I am going to powder here and just suck it up. All right. I will keep this. I'll keep this because I have everything versus the other hand. But I am on the draw, though, right? Yeah. Joe was correct. Looks like potentially White Weenie. If an instant or sorcery would be put... Sure. That's funny. Okay. One, two. I got some hollow too. Come on, man. Boo. Ghost Quarter, huh? So I'm going to Dredge. I'm just trying to think, is there a time to Noxious Revival it back? Like, do I Dredge for 5? Let's say yeah. Alright, so these guys are dead. Nope. Nope. One. Is there another one? No. 2. Discard 3. 1, 2, 3. This will disappear if I do it. So does that matter? Okay, that'll treasure prize Michael come back. Hey! We won a game! Alright, so mono white. We saw Kataki. We saw Ghost Quarter. We saw Dryad Militant. I don't know what's in the mono white deck. Let's look up some Goldfish. Goldfish, vintage decks. Is there a mono white aggro? Okay. So they're going to have more Katakis, Ravenous Traps. 3 Katakis in the main? Yikes. So, certainly makes me think Force of Negation is less great. Do they have Tabernacle? They have a bunch of wastes and stuff like that. Okay, so if they have wastes, I want to bring in a Noxious Revival. They don't necessarily have... They just have a lot of permanent-based removal. Force of Negation seems less than stellar. Do they have artifacts and enchantments? They have a bunch of Moxes. And their enchantment, well, just based on the most current, is like Stony Silence. So it's like, I don't even think I want that. Do I just keep? Do I keep a Force of Negation? Just do that? And kind of like let the rest ride? And then just have to be mindful of how I do my dredging? All right. So, Serum Powder, again. I don't know, it worked last time. Let's do it again. Just, I'm an exile and fool. Mulligan to 5 cards for them. I mean, this is why we had to powder twice. All of our bazaars were in this hand. Mox Pearl. Spirit of the Labyrinth, okay. So just discard. 1, 2, 3. Cast Hollow. Meanwhile, I have all the bazaars in the world. You got me there. Follow up Kataki. So now I'm wondering, can I wait for them to blow up the hollow one? And once it's blown up with so have it be in the graveyard, have the target on the stack, then bazaar away the bridge and get that zombie value? Come on, man. So we'll draw one. Alright, so Icarid could eat. We have 2 Icarids. Do I want them eating Golgari thugs? Oh, you can eat a shambling shell. Okay. There's plenty of therapies in there. They only have 1 card in their hand that I can see. 3 across the board. Okay. Okay. Well, we did manage to get a W on the board, but a lot of that was mulliganins on their part. So sometimes you just kind of barf your entire deck into play, and definitely was in my favor there. Now, that's the question on each of those, that the serum powder, how much of a cost was it? So, all right, round 4 on the play this time. Well, we decided this is a mulligan. They are keeping, so that this is a powder. I have to save a card from potential powdering. Is it the Icarid, or do you save a Stinkweed from powdering? We will save an Icarid. Okay, so this is a new 6-card hand, but we don't want this. Okay, so now this is a serum powder hand. Save 2 cards here. We saved Icarid before. Let's save Hogak. So we shall keep this. We threw away quite a few cards. Bauble, is this 8 cast? My thought was, how do I set up Maybe it just doesn't matter and you're dead. So, we lost the first game. I kind of just need to see how you're going to kill me, you know? That's good enough. Urza, so that makes me think blue-black Tinker. Okay. So, blue-black Tinker. Likely to have Pithy Needle, likely to have, well, blue-black, not necessarily, but they could have ley lines. So with that, I'm thinking I want Force of Vigors. They don't seem. If you're just blue-black, if you're kind of like all-in blue-black Tinker, I would not expect Wastelands out of them. We could confirm that. Well, that is a Ragavan Tinker deck. I'm looking for more not that. Yeah, that didn't help what I went looking for. Force of Negations may be more helpful. So then, because if they're going to be doing a lot of the stuff on, well, it's instant speed, so maybe they won't. But so if I want more Force of Negations, I don't want Noxious Revivals. I don't want Wasteland stuff. I then can trim Therapy and the Bridges from Below. So we did. I feel like that's similar to what we had done previously. I'll try to play first. Heuristic says no Bazaar, mulligan. Opponent mulligan to 6. This says, okay, we powder this, but we'll powder it keeping Inicarid in the deck. We can keep this hand. So we have lost a Grief, an Imp, an Amalgam, and a Hollow One. Our opponent's at 5. Could potentially be digging for ley lines if they have ley lines. My intent here is going to be Bazaar Pass. And if they cast something dangerous enough, at least we can activate the Bazaar to try to draw a blue card. That is my thought process. Whether or not it's relevant will depend on our opponent. They settled with 5. Pass the turn. Black Lotus. Hardcast Layla. Seat. I think Thoughtcast is something we can let happen. End step. 1, 2, 3. Upkeep. That one. Discard 3. 1, 2. Save green card. Throw away the therapy. I think throw away the therapy makes more sense. Draw stop. Did we hit any bridges? I'm not seeing a bridge. Is it worth cashing a Cabal Therapy? I would really like to wait till I had something to do with it before I cash Cabal Therapy. I mean, we didn't lose. We did sideboard bridges out, though. Yeah, so we've sided out 2 bridges. So maybe... I think if they had Tinker, they would have gone for it. Paradoxical might be a good call. Nope, there's an Urza. What is a Lantern of the Lost? Okay. So... yeah, we go after Urza, Lord High Artificer. Take that one. So play Urza Saga. Presumably. I mean, I thought they would play an Urza Saga. Okay. Saga in play. Lantern. Force negation. So they tried playing that. So they have to tap the Mox Opal first here. Did you draw a new Urza on your turn? No, it's a Thought Monitor. That's fine. Okay. What are we looking at? Stinky Dimp. Stinky Dimp. We finally hit bridge. Heat of Grief. Okay. So force. There is a therapy there, but we don't know what's in their hand anymore. And as soon as I attack, they can trade away our guy. Do we just say, hey, no time vaults? Oh, it had the right word in it. Womp womp. Let's put that and then that. So I will get a 2/2, and then it will go away. I believe I did that correctly. They play their seat. We know they are holding Time Walk, but for them to use the Time Walk, what do we have Icarid wise? 1, 2, 3. They really should time walk and then go get a... Right? Time walk and go get a kill all the stuff in my graveyard effect. 1 Icarid, 2 Icarids, 3 Icarids. There's 1 Icarid lurking. And then here, you respond, you make an idiot. Okay. And you go get a Tormod's Crypt effect. That's what I would do with my toolbox artifact deck. I'd have more than Lantern of the Lost or whatever it was. Soul Guide, yeah, see? Now you go poach an Icarid. Prize Amalgam actually probably makes more sense, yeah. Grafdigger's Cage is... Well, that's probably worse for me. Creature cards in graveyards and libraries can't enter the battlefield. Okay, so force. There is 1 Force of Vigor lurking. Nope. Draw. That ain't it. We've got 11 more chances, maybe. I have to do it on their turn. So if I attack with everything, they block that one, obviously. 4 gets through. 4 isn't enough. So do I just wait? And then the thing is, that's the problem though here, is waiting. They just have the Soul Guide Lantern whenever they want it, which is problematic. Yeah, I don't know if I have enough fuel left. Hollow 1. There's still a hollow 1 left. I think I have to wait till I can try to swarm. Because say I had attacked last time. Okay, they're at 13. I go for it again, they're at 11. Then all my guys are dead? That's terrible. I think... I mean, I can't cast spells from graveyard or library. Okay, well, what about this one? 1, 2, 3, 4. I got an 8/8. I mean, their construct is bigger, and I don't know why Emery didn't. Correction. I know why Emery didn't do anything. That's funny. This is funny. Oh. Mox Pearl breaks the stalemate. Mox Jet breaks it wide open. Come on, man. I thought I had this game plan. I thought I knew what I was doing. Serum powder, that's what we wanted. No attacks. As we slowly stare at each other. Oh, that's bad. So now I have to draw Force of Vigor so I can clear the Saga before it gets its other counter. I think that's what I need. So then the question, yeah. So we draw naturally. So now I got to stop on their upkeep. Does that work? I mean, there's a lot of hoping and praying here, but I think if that Saga gets active, I'm in so much trouble. And it only makes sense to go for it on their turn when Force of Vigor has become active. Yeah. Okay. It's like the next card. You know it's like the next card. Now that could maybe I needed to, because of all this excess stuff, knowing the card I need to find is Force of Vigor, maybe I needed to dig sooner. And that's my own fault. Yeah. No, no, no. Thanks, buddy. So now I feel like it's too late. Draw 2, pitch 3, get a hollow one out there. Draw 2, I'd have 3 cards remaining. Go to their turn. Kill the constructs. There's still one construct that's bigger than like my entire team. And then we don't have enough tax steps. Well, let's see if we can salvage something here, but I think a lot of this is... So one of the key things about the wheel is normally it has me play decks that I'm not used to or I'm not comfortable with in a way to expand my range and try to get like on the other side of matchups. But I do think, well, see, like it's not true because I did play Dredge once upon a time, but that was like literally when I first got into Magic Online. It was the cheapest deck I could put together, and you could win pretty quickly. So I put Dredge together, and I played through a lot of, they were called daily events back then and stuff. And so, I don't know. All right. Let's see what we can do with round 5. We're going to be on the draw for round 5. On the draw, 3 of our matches. Likely not helping. Well, we found a mulligan. Well, we found a mulligan. Well, found a powder. Putting back a troll and a bridge. Keep this. Okay, 3 cards go back. If I put that. Alternatively, I would say alternatively, we keep the Force of Vigor as a way to... No. I've already exposed that I'm Dredge. I can turn off their upkeep stop. Leave my upkeep stop. One, two, three. Okay, pass turn. Vampiric, sure. Could go poorly for me. Could also just get combo kill. Oh, it's Oath. Hooray! I mean, I guess I don't know what you're supposed to expect when somebody wins the PTQ with Oath, and it's like people love Oath, even when it's not good. So when it has the potential to be good, you can bet people they're just gonna be signing up. Let's try that. Let's try that. Let's discard these 3. Okay. Let's buy back that one. We're going to try to overwhelm the game 1. Okay, pre-combat. Attack. Alright, what do we think they have? We're going to therapy them. Sacrifice the Icarus who is dying anyway, and I'll say time walk. Because that one usually is the biggest issue. Nope. Force, Fluster, Oath, Oko. Okay. Nothing left for me to do here. Let's get some amalgams in play. And let him spit out a 6/6. Oko, Orchard, Force Main. Makes sense. Choose a replacement. The biggest one's a Stinkly Dimp. The next biggest one is Stinkly Dimp. Discards 3 cards. Gonna have a grief. Show. Trigger 2 more of those guys. Upkeep. We have 25 cards left. Okay, we have found some bridges. Attack with everybody. Take the biggest one. Take 12. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. 1, 2, 3. That should work. green for a Veil of Summer is what they drew. Okay. Seems like that will fizzle. Pay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They let that happen. Trigger. Pass. Mm-hmm. Blessing trigger. I will sacrifice. Now, if I sacrifice a spirit token, discard Stink Cleanup. I mean, I'm pretty sure I have more attack power. I could be wrong. Ancestral? Sure. Digging for Time Walk, perhaps? Time Walk, attack with the Archon trigger, puts me at 11, and then 5. No, that would work. Time Walk would kill me. Well, I could get 1 block in, but the shots for 3, that's got to be enough. Attack shoots me to 11. Time Walk. I've lost my blocker. You attack with both. Yeah, totally. Time Walk kills me. Come on, no Time Walk. Block. Doesn't have trample, right? Mox, Time Walk. So, honestly, we've played Bug, Bug Oath, Mono White, 8 cast, and then Bug Oath again. And is that the second time they've played Vampiric Tutor? That's kind of funny. Vampiric into Probe, into Lotus, into Time Walk, into Preordain? Into Dress Down? Why didn't I? Okay. That's not what I expected to happen. Alright, so Veil of Summer was bad news. I don't exactly recall what we did. Why didn't they had Vampiric Tutor. Why didn't they get Time Walk? Time Walk kills me. maybe what they had the cantrips. Maybe they didn't have the mana, so they went looking for the Lotus. Okay. So they went looking for the Lotus, not looking for the Time Walk. That's what I was thinking is if you were able to go look for it, why wouldn't you just go get that? All right, that's what was confusing. It's like, well, I don't understand why that's what you were going for. I don't remember what I did last time. I feel like it was this. Because we wanted the Force of Vigors, we wanted the Force of Negations, and we didn't expect to be Wastelands, so we took out the Noxus Revivals, and then we trimmed on Therapy and took out Bridges. I think that's what we did. That sounds right in my head. Because we wouldn't necessarily want any of these wasting effects. And ley lines, no. Okay. On the draw. No Bazaar, we mulligan. They kept 7. We have a keeper. So what goes back here? My thought is Thug because it's the smallest. And right now, Hogak is my... Now, okay, if I wasn't going to cash in immediately, I shouldn't have burned it as soon as I did. I should have... You're an idiot. I'm looking at myself in the reflection in case... I'm looking at the reflection at myself and wondering, why did I cash that in so early? You would have... Okay. Grief, that's true. Now, I could say no to Narcomoeba and wait and build up a whole bunch of Icarid stuff, right? Are the bridges optional? Because there's an Icarid, there's an Icarid. I got a game plan. It's not a good game plan. It is a game plan. It was a game plan. All right, final game. On the draw. Sorry, correction. On the play. Big bucks, no whammies. There's a serum powder here. We take the powder. There's a serum powder here. We take the powder. Keep. Okay. So 1, 2, 3. Have grief. Look at their hand, and then I keep. Okay. So if I throw bridge away, that means I throw. Yeah. So I'm thinking bridge, imp, force. Because this will get me a little zombie dude. All right. Ancestral. Well, obviously we take oath. And then the question kind of is, do I just counter? So they drew Sapphire? Because their other 5 cards are these 5. So knowing what they have, I'm just going to force this. Okay, so first things first, let's attack. So I have a Cabal Therapy, and they chose not to play Lotus. I feel like that's the thing that gets them back in. So now they have 4 cards, a Pearl or a Ruby. I feel like I don't care about. I didn't want to cash in the hollow one either, is my thought. Get instantly punished, perhaps. With, what's his face? Dak Faden. Oko. See, couldn't have stopped that anyway. Correction, I could have. Imp. Imp. All right. We managed to get half a treasure chest or a half a play point, whatever I'm trying to say, I don't know. Half our entry back. How about that? So, that's Dredge. That is Dredge piloted not very optimally, but shout out to chat for helping struggle my way through. Well, shout out to chat. Shout out to Cho. But yeah, if you want to see me play something like this, if you subscribe or resubscribe to the channel, you get yourself put on the wheel. We'll spin the wheel up, and when you come up, I will ask you for something. You can give me a single card strategy, an archetype you want to see, maybe a format, and then with that, I was given Dredge. We decided to play some vintage Dredge. So, shout out to Mana Traders once again for allowing me to play all these different decks. You can find my code all the way up at the top if you want to sign up with them. Also, shout out to Swish Gaming. That is my new team that I am a part of, both in paper, and you can find swishgaming.com or look up Swish Gaming on YouTube, and you can find these things later. And if you're watching there, hey, thanks. I appreciate it. All right. Next up, I believe I have to play Nick Fit. That is what has been chosen for next week, is Nick Fit. So I have a little bit of leeway. We'll see what I do with that. But until then, you take care out there.